The great hall of the Galactic Concord floated high above a purple nebula that swirled like slow smoke. The hall was huge and bright, with walls made of living crystal that changed color with every thought in the room. Thousands of beings from many worlds sat in curved seats that floated gently. Representatives from tall insect races with shining armor sat next to soft glowing beings who spoke only in light. Small furry creatures with many eyes shared space with long-limbed swimmers who moved in water tanks. The air smelled of metal and strange flowers, and quiet music played from nowhere. Today was special. The humans had come to join the galaxy. A small group of humans walked into the center of the hall. 5 of them wore plain gray suits with the blue and white mark of Earth on their shoulders. They looked small next to the others. Ambassador Elena Vasquez led them. She had dark hair tied back and calm brown eyes. Her face showed no fear, even when giant shadows moved around her. Other humans followed close. One was a tall man with silver hair named Dr. James Carter. Another was young engineer Sarah Kim, with quick hands and a bright smile. The last 2 were quiet guards who watched everything. The speaker of the Concord rose. It was a tall velour being made of clear crystal. Its voice came like wind through glass. Welcome, new children of the stars. We greet the people of Terra with open light. You have traveled far to stand here. Elena stepped forward and bowed a little. Thank you, great speaker. We come in peace and hope to learn from all of you and share what we know. Soft sounds of amusement came from many seats. A Kresh warrior clicked his mandibles loud. The small ones speak of sharing. What can they share but their youth? Their world is soft. Their bodies break easy. They have no shells, no venom, no wings. A Larathi being whose thoughts floated like blue mist sent a gentle wave of pity toward the humans. Poor soft things, they survived by hiding. Strength. The galaxy will protect them as we protect all weak young races. Elena kept her smile. She spoke clear and steady. Our world taught us many hard lessons. We bring those lessons with us. We ask only for a fair chance to prove our place. The speaker raised one crystal arm. The vote is taken. Humanity is accepted as provisional member. You will have voice in small matters. Protection and guidance will come from elder races. Your ships may travel approved lanes. Your people may study in safe zones. We thank you for your trust. The humans bowed again. They walked out of the hall with heads high, but the air behind them filled with whispers. In a side chamber away from the bright lights, the real talk began. The Security Council of the Concord met in a dark round room. 7 elder races sat at a black stone table. A Valor elder named Lyral spoke first. Their biology is weak. No natural defenses. Average lifespan less than 100 cycles. They come from a Class M world. Mild weather. No great predators. No toxic air. They are the product of luck, not struggle. A Kresh general named Zorak tapped his claws on the table. Their weapons are simple. They throw metal bits with chemical bursts. No energy blades, no plasma. Their ships use fusion, not singularity drives. They are children playing at war. A squid-like being from the deep oceans bubbled. We scanned their history. Many wars, many diseases, many disasters. Yet they still stand. This is curious but not impressive. They fight each other more than they fight nature. Lyra leaned forward. We will place them under guidance protocol. They will report to us. They will ask permission for new tech. They will not join military fleets until they grow much stronger. This is mercy, not insult. All heads nodded. The vote passed fast. Outside in the wide corridor, Elena and her team walked toward their shuttle. Sarah Kim looked back at the glowing hall. They really think we are helpless, she said quiet. Carter put a hand on her shoulder. They see what they want to see. Small bodies, short lives, simple tools. They do not see the fire inside. Elena stopped and looked at her people. We knew this would happen. They look at our present, they do not look at our past. We let them talk, we watch, we learn, we wait. The shuttle door opened. They stepped inside. The engines hummed soft. The craft pulled away from the great station and turned toward the stars. Far behind in the Concord Hall, the aliens returned to their own talks. A young Larathi asked an elder, "Why do we treat them so small?" The elder sent a calm thought. "Because they are small. They need time to grow. They need our wisdom to survive." The young one thought for a moment, then sent back, "But what if they do not need our wisdom? What if they already have something we do not see?" The elder laughed soft in light waves. "Nonsense, child. They are new. They are soft. They are safe only because we allow it." Looked out at the stars where the human shuttle had gone. Nothing more was said. On the human ship, Elena sat in the small command chair. She opened a screen and looked at old images of Earth. Blue oceans, wide deserts, tall mountains, frozen poles, crowded cities, ancient ruins. She touched one picture. It showed a man in thick clothes, standing on ice, with wind blowing snow in his face. Another showed people building a wall against rising water. Another showed doctors fighting a sickness that killed millions. She closed the screen and spoke to her team. "They think our world is gentle. They think we had it easy. They will learn different when the time comes." Sarah smiled. "We show them slow, we show them steady." James nodded. "And when they finally understand, it will be too late to call us small again." The shuttle flew on toward the human colony ship waiting in deep space. The galaxy stretched wide and bright ahead. The humans looked out with quiet eyes. They knew the road would be long. They knew the tests would come. They were ready. The stars did not care about size, or shells, or age. The stars only cared about who kept moving forward. The humans had always kept moving forward. That was their oldest habit and their strongest weapon. In the silence of space, the small gray ship carried its people toward whatever waited next. No one on board looked back with regret. They looked ahead with calm faces and strong hearts. The galaxy had dismissed them. For now, that was fine. The story was only beginning. The human delegation returned to their main colony ship called Endurance. It hung in orbit around a quiet yellow star, far from the bright heart of the Concord. The ship was old, but strong, built in pieces over many years by people who refused to stay small. Its hull showed scars from micrometeors and old solar flares, yet it still moved steady through the black. Elena Vasquez called her team to the main briefing room. The room had plain metal walls and long tables bolted to the floor. Windows showed the endless stars. Sarah Kim sat with her tablet, already pulling up mission files. James Carter leaned against the wall, arms crossed. The two guards stood silent near the door. A message came in from the Concord. It glowed on the big screen. The joint expedition to Epsilon Verge begins in 3 standard cycles. All provisional species must send a team. This is a test of cooperation and basic competence. Humans will provide support personnel. The primary survey will be led by Kresh Valor and Lirathi experts. Sarah read the words out loud. "They want us to carry their bags." James gave a short laugh. "They think we will trip over our own feet and need rescue. That is fine. Let them think it." Elena looked at each face. "We go. We do the work. We show nothing yet. The galaxy watches. We give them no reason to fear us early." 3 cycles later, the mixed fleet gathered at the jump point. 5 alien ships waited, sleek and perfect with glowing shields and smooth lines. The human contribution was one sturdy transport called Reliant. It looked boxy next to the others. Its engines burned hot and plain. No fancy curves, no shining armor, just function. The Kresh flagship sent a hail. "This is General Zorak. Humans, you will follow in rear position. Your role is logistics and sample collection. Do not interfere with primary operations." Elena answered from the bridge. "Understood, General. We will stay in position and provide what is needed." The jump began. Space folded around them. like heavy cloth. The ships vanished one by one and reappeared in the Epsilon Verge system. The target planet filled the view screens, a gray-brown world with angry red clouds and constant lightning storms. Its air was thick with sulfur and acid. Its ground shook often, its seas boiled in places. The expedition leader, a Valor named Leorail, spoke over fleet comms. This world is rated difficult, but manageable. Our teams have faced worse. We will establish base camp on the equatorial plateau. Shields will hold against storms. Exosuits will protect against corrosives. We expect full data in 10 cycles. The ships landed in a wide crater. The ground cracked and steamed. Alien teams came out first, Kresh in heavy-powered armor that clicked with every step. Valor floating on anti-gravity fields. Lirathi carried in sealed bubbles that shimmered with thought energy. They set up quickly. Tall towers rose from the ground. Energy domes appeared. Machines hummed. The humans landed last, touched down with a solid thump. They opened hatches and stepped out in thick sealed suits. Helmets had wide visors. Chemical filters hissed softly. They carried heavy packs, tools, rifles, and boxes of supplies. No floating fields, no powered armor. Just legs and hands and will. A Kresh officer named Thrax watched from his position. His mandibles moved in what passed for a smile. Look at them. They walk like they expect the ground to bite. They carry toys. A Lirathi thought wave brushed past, amusement mixed with pity. Soft skins in rubber. They will tire fast. The first 2 cycles went smooth. The aliens mapped the plateau, collected rocks, measured winds. The humans followed behind. They took extra samples. They fixed small equipment when it failed. They shared water when an alien suit leaked. They said little and smiled often. On the 3rd cycle, everything changed. The ground trembled hard. A deep rumble came up from below. Cracks opened wide. Red gas poured out, thick and choking. Sky turned black. Lightning hit the towers one after another. Energy shields flickered and died. Exosuits locked as circuits burned. Lirathi bubbles popped under psychic feedback. Screams filled the comms. General Zorak shouted, "Evacuate priority personnel. Science teams fall back to ships. We abandon the site. This is irrecoverable." Kresh warriors pulled their wounded toward shuttles. Valor floated fast away. Lirathi minds went silent as pain overwhelmed them. The storm grew worse. Acid rain fell in sheets. Wind tore at tents and machines. The humans did not run. Sergeant Marcus Reyes stood on a rise. He wore the same heavy suit as the others. His voice came calm over local comms. "All teams form on me. We hold the high ground. We secure the wounded first. Engineers start patching what you can. Medics move now." His people moved fast. They dragged fallen aliens under overhangs. They used emergency tarps to block wind. They rigged hand pumps to clear acid pools. Wei crawled into a wrecked Valor generator. She pulled wires with bare gloves inside her suit. She sang an old song under her breath to keep steady. Thrax lay against a rock. His leg armor had cracked. Acid ate at the joint. He watched humans work. They laughed when a gust almost knocked them down. They cursed when tools slipped. They kept going. One human woman knelt by him. She checked his wound. She spoke through her helmet speaker. "Easy, big guy. We got you. Breathe slow." Thrax clicked weak. "You should flee. This place kills." She shook her head. "We've been in worse. We stay." Marcus directed a team to build a low wall from fallen metal. They stacked crates and rocks. They lit chemical flares to push back a swarm of stinging flyers that came with the storm. The flares burned bright and hot. The creatures hissed and fled. Dr. Lin finished her work. She hot-wired the generator. It coughed and sparked, then hummed low. Power returned to one small dome. Humans moved aliens inside. Oxygen tanks. They bandaged wounds with cloth torn from spare suits. They passed food bars to shaking Lirathi. Thrax transmitted shaky footage back to the Concorde ships. His camera caught humans crawling through red fog. They tied ropes around each other so no one got lost. They dug channels to drain acid. They fired rifles at shadows that moved too close. They did not complain. They did not break. One clip showed Marcus standing in the wind. His suit leaked at the shoulder. Blood mixed with rain. He grinned at a camera drone. This storm is loud, but our storms back home sing louder. This is just another Tuesday. The footage cut off as another quake hit. On the Concorde station far away, analysts watched the feed. They saw humans refuse to leave. They saw humans save aliens who had called them weak. They saw humans fight a planet that wanted them dead. And they saw humans win small victories every minute. Lyrael stared at the screen in silence. Her crystal form dimmed. Spoke quiet. They are not running. They are holding. The room stayed quiet. No one laughed. No one whispered pity. The galaxy began to see something new. On the surface, the humans kept working. Night came dark and full of poison lightning. They built fires from chemical packs. They shared stories to keep spirits up. They patched suits. They fed the wounded. They waited for the storm to pass. They did not ask for rescue. They did not beg. They simply endured. And in that endurance, the first crack appeared in the wall of alien certainty. The small, soft humans were not small. They were something else. Something older. Something harder. Something that had faced worse and still walked forward. The storm raged on. The humans stood firm. The test had only just begun. The storm on Epsilon Verge grew worse before it got better. Wind screamed across the plateau, carrying sharp grains of rock and burning acid. Rain fell in heavy sheets that hissed on contact with anything metal. The ground kept shaking, small quakes followed by bigger ones. Red fog rolled thick enough to hide a person at arm's length. Lightning cracked every few seconds, lighting up twisted shapes in the dark. Inside the small dome humans had patched together, Sergeant Marcus Reyes stood at the center. He checked his people one by one. His own suit had a slow leak at the shoulder, but he ignored the sting of acid on skin. He spoke low and steady. "Everyone stay sharp. We got wounded to watch, gear to fix, air to share. No one goes out alone." Dr. Lin Wei knelt by a broken generator. She had pulled panels open, and now worked with thin tools in gloved hands. Sparks jumped when she touched wrong wires, but she did not flinch. She hummed an old tune from her childhood to keep her mind clear. Generator coughed, once, twice, then settled into a low, steady hum. Lights inside the dome brightened a little. Warmth came back to numb fingers. A young human medic named Tomas moved between stretchers. He checked alien wounds with careful hands. Creche armor had cracked open in places. Acid had burned deep into flesh. Valor crystal skin showed hairline fractures that leaked slow, glowing fluid. Lirathi floated in pain, their thought waves weak and scattered. Tomas spoke soft to each one. "Hold still, friend. This will sting, but it will help." He used human bandages, cleaned with what little sterile water they had. He tied tourniquets from torn suit fabric. He gave pain shots from small kits strapped to his thigh. Thrax, the Creche warrior, lay on a low pallet. His leg throbbed where acid had eaten through joint seals. He watched the humans move. They did not rush in panic. They did not shout orders in fear. They worked like they had done this many times before. One human woman brought him a water pouch. She knelt close. "Drink slow. Your body needs it." Thrax took the pouch with shaking claws. He tasted clean water, not recycled ship water, not bitter alien mix. He looked at her visor. "You risked your air for me. Why?" She shrugged. "We leave no one behind. That is Rule 1 back home." Outside the dome, the storm tried to tear everything apart. A pack of large predators appeared on the ridge. They looked like long lizards with too many legs and mouths full of needle teeth. The acid rain did not bother them much. Their scales shed the burn. The lightning made their eyes glow green. They smelled blood and fear. They moved closer. Marcus saw them first, on the grainy feed from a small drone. He grabbed his rifle. It was old design, chemical propellant, not energy. He checked the magazine. Full. He spoke into comms. Predators inbound. We need a line. Form up. Use flares first, rifles second. No wild shots. Save ammo. 10 humans stepped out into the wind. They linked arms with safety lines so no one blew away. They knelt in a rough half-circle, facing the ridge. Flares hissed when lit. Bright orange fire pushed back the dark. The predators hissed and paused, but hunger won. They charged down the slope, fast. The humans opened fire. Rifles barked sharp cracks over the storm. Bullets hit scales, sparked off rock. Some rounds found soft spots. The lead creature fell, twisting. Another leaped high. Marcus rolled aside, fired upward into its belly. It crashed heavy near the dome wall. The rest slowed, circled, wary now. One human engineer, named Raj, pulled an improvised charge from his pack. It was fertilizer mix and fuel from suit reserves wrapped tight with wire. He lit the fuse with a chemical match. He threw it hard into the pack. The blast lit the night. Rocks flew. Creatures screamed and scattered. The ridge went quiet again. Inside, Thrax watched the fight through a cracked view panel. Humans cheered, short and tired, when the last predator limped away. They slapped shoulders, laughed rough jokes about bad neighbors back home. Then they went back to work. No rest, no complaint, just more tasks. Dr. Lim finished the generator fix. She ran cables to charge alien suits that still worked a little. Power flowed slow but steady. A Valor floated closer, its light dim. She sent a weak thought wave. Gratitude, soft ones. You mend what we could not. Lynn smiled behind her visor. We fix what breaks. That is what we do. Hours passed. The storm eased a fraction. Wind still howled, but lightning came less often. Humans dug trenches with hand tools to drain acid pooling near the dome. They stacked more debris for windbreaks. They repaired a radio mast, piece by piece. Sarah Kim climbed it in the gusts, tied off with ropes. She spoke calm over comms. Almost there. Just a little more. She reached the top, reconnected frayed wires. The radio crackled back to life. Elena Vasquez monitored from the Reliant, still landed safe at the crater edge. She sent a tight beam message to the human teams. You are doing good. Hold. Position relief is prepping. We come when the storm drops enough. Marcus answered back. Copy that. We got this. No need to rush. We've been waiting on worse weather than this. Thrax listened to the exchange. He felt strange feelings stir in his chest. Respect mixed with confusion. These humans had no shells, no natural weapons, no long lives. Yet they stood when elder races fled. They shared when they had little. They laughed in the face of death. He transmitted more footage to the Concorde ships. His camera caught quiet moments. A human sharing a ration bar with a wounded Larathi. A guard carrying an unconscious Valor to shelter on his back. 2 engineers arguing friendly over the best way to patch a hull breach, then laughing when it worked. A medic singing low to calm a shaking Kresh child soldier who had come on the mission. The footage streamed steady. The analysts on the station watched in growing silence. No one spoke of weakness now. No one laughed at simple tools. Endurance, raw, and real. Thrax turned to Marcus, who stood nearby, checking his rifle. The human looked tired, eyes red from lack of sleep, but steady. Thrax clicked his mandibles slow. You fight like you expect the universe to try killing you, every day. Marcus wiped rain from his visor. We grew up on a rock that tried exactly that. Every day something wanted us gone. Big animals, bad weather, sickness, wars. We learned to keep going, or we stopped existing. Simple choice, really. Thrax thought long, then spoke again. "Your world sounds like this one, but worse." Marcus gave a tired grin. "Yeah, but we beat it. We beat it every generation. We turned caves into cities. We turned sticks into rockets. We turned fear into fuel. You call this a death world? Wait till you hear bedtime stories from ours." The Kresh warrior stayed quiet. He looked out at the storm that still raged. He looked at the humans who refused to break. Something shifted inside him. Something old and proud bowed a little. Night wore on. Humans kept watch. They repaired. They healed. They held the line. They did not ask the galaxy for help. They gave help instead. And far away, the first whispers of change began to spread through the Concord halls. The small, soft humans were not small anymore. They were something forged in fire, something that laughed at poison wind, something that had stared down death since their first breath. The storm would pass. The humans would still be standing. When the sky finally cleared, the galaxy would see them different. For the first time, they would see the truth. Humans had not survived by luck. Humans had survived because nothing in their history ever let them quit. And that refusal to quit burned brighter than any shield or plasma gun in the stars. The storm on Epsilon Verge finally broke after many long hours. The red clouds thinned. Lightning faded to distant flashes. Wind dropped to a low moan. Acid rain turned to light mist. The ground still steamed and cracked, but the worst had passed. Humans walked out first. They checked the dome, they counted supplies. They helped aliens stand who could not rise alone. Thrax pulled himself up with help from 2 humans. His leg still hurt, but the acid burn had stopped spreading. He looked around at the wreckage, twisted metals, scattered rocks, blackened by fire, dead predators lying where they fell. Yet the small dome still stood. Power hummed steady from the patched generator. Humans moved with purpose, not panic. Elena Vasquez arrived from the Reliant in a heavy rover. She stepped out in her sealed suit, visor fogged for a moment from the change in air. She walked straight to Marcus Reyes. They spoke quiet words, then turned to the alien survivors. Elena raised her voice so all could hear. "Is over. Relief ships are coming. We hold until they land. Everyone stay calm." On the Concord station far away, the council chamber filled fast. Representatives from every major race gathered. The big screens showed live feeds from Epsilon Verge. Analysts had pulled every bit of data they could. Deep scans of Earth now ran non-stop. Old records from human archives flooded in unfiltered for the first time. No more polite summaries. No more gentle edits. Raw truth poured across the tables. Lirel, the Valor Elder, stood at the center. Her crystal body flickered with unsteady light. She spoke to the room. "We dismissed their world as mild. We called it temperate. We were wrong. Look at this." The main screen lit up with images of Earth. Blue oceans turned gray with storms, ice caps that crushed land under miles of frozen weight, deserts that burned skin in minutes, jungles thick with venom and disease, mountains taller than anything most aliens would ever climb, cities built on fault lines that split open without warning, volcanoes that buried whole regions in ash, asteroids that had struck hard enough to darken the sky for years. A Kresh analyst clicked mandibles slow. Their atmosphere changed wildly. Oxygen levels swung high and low. Radiation bathed the surface from weak magnetic fields. Diseases evolved fast and killed millions before medicines caught up. Predators ruled every corner. Bears that stood taller than Kresh warriors. Sharks that hunted in deep cold water. Insects that carried fever in every bite. Snakes that struck from trees. Birds that dropped from the sky to tear flesh. Another screen showed human history in quick flashes. People wrapped in animal skins walking across ice fields with stone spears. Men in wooden boats crossing oceans that swallowed fleets. People climbing sheer rock with ropes and bare hands. Divers going deep where pressure crushed metal like paper. Pilots flying thin metal tubes to the edge of air and beyond. Doctors fighting plagues with needles. And hope. Engineers building walls against rising seas. Farmers planting in soil poisoned by salt and drought. A Larathi thought wave spread through the room, slow and heavy. They did not hide from their world. They fought it. They shaped it. They turned every disaster into the next step forward. Zorak, the Kresh general, stared at a clip of humans standing on the peak of their tallest mountain. No air tanks, no heated suits, just thin clothes, wind tearing at them, and snow in their faces. One man planted a flag and smiled wide. Zorak spoke low. They climbed that for no reason but to say they could. We thought their short lives made them fragile. We were blind. Short lives forced them to move fast. Short lives taught them to value every day. Short lives made them burn bright against the dark. More footage came from the surface. Humans dragging Kresh wounded through fog. Humans sharing last oxygen with Larathi, whose bubbles had failed. Humans firing simple guns at monsters. That would make Elder Race soldiers pause. One clip showed Marcus Reyes standing over the body of a slain apex predator. Blood and ichor covered his suit. He looked straight at the drone camera and said, "This thing tried to eat us. We said, no thanks. This is Tuesday, back home." The chamber went completely silent. No whispers, no soft thoughts, no clicks of mandibles. Everyone watched the same clip loop again and again. A human in torn gear, grinning through a cracked visor while acid rain dripped from his helmet. An old Valor counselor spoke at last. Their world did not make them weak. Their world made them the answer to weakness. They evolved under constant attack, constant change, constant loss. They learned to adapt faster than any of us. They learned to endure what breaks others. Zorak turned to the screen, showing the current base camp. Humans worked side by side with aliens now. They passed tools. They shared food. They laughed at small jokes while patching wounds. A young human woman helped a wounded Larathi float steady. The alien sent a weak wave of thanks. The human just patted the bubble and kept working. The council voted without debate. Humanity upgraded. Full membership. No provisional status. No guidance required. No protection needed. New clause added to galactic law. Deathworld origin species demand respect. Handle with care. Underestimate at your peril. Elena received the message on her comm. She read it quiet, then showed it to Marcus and the team. Marcus gave a small smile. They finally looked at the whole picture. Thrax approached Elena, his steps slow but firm. He stopped in front of her mandibles, clicking in formal respect. "You were never weak. We were blind. You carried the weight of a harder cradle than any we know. I speak for my people when I say we owe you." Elena met his gaze. "We did not come here to prove anything. We came to join as equals. Now you see why we stand tall." Thrax bowed low. "The galaxy sees now. What you faced made you what you are. We will not forget." Relief ships arrived soon after. Human flotilla first cutting through the last wisps of storm with strong engines and steady hands. Alien vessels followed slower, more careful. The humans unloaded supplies, fast. They helped load the wounded. They shared extra gear without being asked. As the last shuttle prepared to lift, Thrax stood with Elena one more time. He looked at the humans walking back to their ships, carrying heavy loads, laughing, talking, planning next steps. He spoke quiet. "Your people smile in the face of poison wind. You fight when others flee. You share when you have nothing left. That is not weakness. That is something greater." Elena shrugged. "We just kept going. That is all we know how to do." The ships rose one by one. Humans left last. Their transport-reliant lifted smooth engines roaring against the quiet sky. The planet fell away below, scarred but no longer deadly. Back on the Concorde station, the hall felt different. In the air, No pitying glances. When the human delegation returned, they walked in through the same crystal doors, heads high, steps sure. The speaker rose once more. This time the voice carried real warmth. "Welcome, full members of the Concord. Your place is here by right, not by grant." Elena bowed. "Thank you. We look forward to what we build together." The aliens watched them now with new eyes. Respect replaced amusement. Caution replaced dismissal. Curiosity replaced certainty. The small, soft humans had shown their teeth, not in anger, but in survival. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Never judge a species by its shell. Judge it by what it faced and what it became because of it. In the quiet after the ceremony, a young Larathi cadet approached Sarah Kim. The alien floated close, thoughts gentle. "May I ask a question?" Sarah smiled. "Sure." The cadet sent, "What is Tuesday?" Sarah laughed. "It is just a day back home, nothing special, except when the world tries to kill you." Becomes memorable. End. Cadet thought for a moment. Then sent, "Thank you for teaching us. We will remember." Sarah nodded. "We all will." The stars outside the station burned steady. The galaxy turned slow. Humans stood among the elders now, not as children, not as charity, but as equals, forged in the oldest fire of all, the fire of a death world that never stopped trying to end them, and they never stopped refusing to end. That refusal shone brighter than any crystal wall or energy shield. It lit the way forward for everyone who dared to look. The last shuttles lifted from the scarred surface of Epsilon Verge. Heavy engines roared against the quiet sky. Human ships moved first, cutting clean through the thinning clouds. Alien vessels followed, slower, more careful. The planet fell away below, a gray-brown ball, still steaming from the storm, but no longer trying to kill everything on it. Inside the Reliant, Sergeant Marcus Reyes sat in the troop bay. He cleaned his rifle with slow, careful hands. Bits of ash and dried ichor fell to the floor. Sarah Kim sat across from him. She checked her tablet, pulling up damage reports. Dr. Lin Wei leaned against a bulkhead, eyes closed, resting for the first time in days. Tomas the medic moved between seats, checking minor wounds on humans and aliens alike. Thrax, the big Kresh warrior, sat nearby. His leg brace hummed soft as it healed the acid burn. He watched the humans with steady eyes. Elena Vasquez walked through the bay. She stopped near Marcus and Thrax. She spoke, calm. "The Concord has sent final clearance. We dock in 6 hours. Full membership papers are ready. No more provisional tags. No more oversight." Marcus looked up and gave a small grin. They took their time figuring it out. Thrax clicked his mandibles slow. "We were fools. We saw small bodies. We saw simple tools. We did not see the forge that made you." Elena shrugged. "We never asked anyone to see it. We just kept living." The Kresh warrior leaned forward. "Tell me more about your Tuesday. What does it mean when you say, 'This is Tuesday'?" Marcus laughed low. "It means nothing special, just another day." But back home, another day often meant another fight, another storm, another beast, another sickness. We learned to treat hard days like normal days. If you let fear win every time the world tries to break you, you never get anything done. So we smile, we joke, we keep moving. Tuesday became our way of saying, "Bring it on." Thrax thought long. Then he spoke quiet. "Your people carry that inside every one of you. Did not run when we did. That is why you saved us when we left you to die." Sarah looked up from her tablet. "And now the whole galaxy knows it too." The fleet approached the great orbital station. The crystal walls glowed brighter than before. Ships from dozens of races waited in formation. Lights flashed welcome signals. No weapons pointed. No shields raised high. just open docking arms. The Reliant slid into its berth with a gentle thump. Airlocks hissed, seals locked, humans and aliens stepped out together. They walked down wide corridors lined with floating lights. Representatives waited at the end. A crowd of beings from every corner of known space stood silent. Valor crystals shimmering, Kresh warriors standing tall, Lorathi thoughts floating soft like mist. The speaker rose once more. This time no crystal wind carried pity. This time the voice rang clear and strong. Welcome home, members of humanity. Your trials on Epsilon Verge have shown the truth. Your place among us is earned, not given. The Concord opens its doors wide. No protections, no limits. You stand as equals. Elena stepped forward. She bowed slight. Thank you, great speaker. We come to build, not to take. We bring our hands, our minds, our stubborn hearts. We look forward to what we create together. The hall filled with sound, soft chimes from Valor crystals, deep clicks from Kresh mandibles, gentle waves from Lorathi minds, applause in many forms rolled through the chamber. Humans stood tall among them, no longer the small delegation, no longer the charity case. They were part of the circle now. After the ceremony, small groups formed. Quiet talks began. Thrax walked with Zorak, the Kresh general. They spoke low. Zorak asked, "What now, brother? Do we fear them?" Thrax answered, "No, we respect them. We learn from them. Their fire does not burn us. It lights the way if we let it." In another corner, Lyrael spoke with Elena. The Crystal Elder dimmed her light a little, then brightened again. "Your world, mild. We see the scars it left on your soul, yet those scars made you stronger than our smooth paths ever could." Elena smiled gentle. "Scars teach lessons. Smooth paths teach comfort. We took the hard road every time. It hurt, but it worked." A young Lorathi cadet floated close to Sarah. The alien sent a shy thought. "May I learn more about your world? May I study the stories of your Tuesdays?" Sarah laughed. "Sure thing. We got plenty of stories. Some end happy, some end sad. Most end with us still standing. Want to hear one about a big wave that tried to drown a whole city?" The cadet brightened. "Yes, please." Across the hall, James Carter stood with a group of engineers from different races. They talked fast, drawing plans in the air with light pens. One squid-like being bubbled excitement. "Your fusion drives are brute force, yet they never fail. Our singularity cores are elegant but fragile. Teach us your brute way." James grinned. "Happy to share. We build to last, not to look pretty." As hours passed, the mood grew lighter. Laughter mixed with serious talk. Food appeared, strange dishes from many worlds. Humans brought their own simple rations. Protein bars, coffee packs, real fruit from hydroponic gardens. Aliens tried them, careful at first, then eager. The taste of earth apples surprised Valor so much, its crystal rang like a bell. Marcus found himself near a wide window. He looked out at the stars. The galaxy stretched endless, bright, cold. He felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Tomas, the medic. The young man spoke quiet. "We did it, Sarge. We showed them." Marcus nodded slow. "Yeah, but we always knew who we were. Now they know too. That changes things." Tomas looked out too. "What comes next?" Marcus shrugged. "More work, more fights, more days that feel like Tuesday. But we keep going, same as always." Farther down the corridor, Elena stood alone for a moment. She touched the glass. The stars reflected in her eyes. She thought of Earth. Tried to kill her kind every chance it got. She thought of ancestors who crossed frozen lands, who sailed wooden ships, who built machines with slide rules, who walked on the moon. She thought of every human who refused to quit. She smiled small. "Thank you," she whispered to the past. "Thank you for the fire. The station turned slow. Night cycle began. Lights dimmed soft. Music played from somewhere. Humans and aliens mixed more freely. Stories flowed. Questions flew. Answers came honest. No more walls. No more pity. Just beings who had seen something new and wanted to understand it. In a quiet side room, Frax sat with Elena one last time. He spoke low. Your people will change us. Not with weapons, not with force, with example. You showed mercy when we showed none. You showed strength when we showed fear. You showed laughter when we showed despair. The galaxy needed that lesson. Elena met his gaze. We all need reminding sometimes that survival is not about being the biggest or the strongest. It is about refusing to stop. Thrax bowed deep. We will remember. The night wore on. The station hummed with new energy. The humans walked its halls taller. No swagger, no pride, just quiet certainty. They had earned their place, not by asking, not by begging, by standing when others fell, by sharing when others fled, by enduring what others could not. And in that endurance, the galaxy found something rare, something precious, something worth protecting, not because it was weak, but because it was unbreakable. The stars outside burned on steady and ancient. They had watched species rise and fall for eons. Now they watched humans take their place among the stars, not as newcomers, not as charity, but as deathworlders who turned every scar into strength, every loss into fuel, every Tuesday into victory. The story did not end there. It never would. Humans kept moving forward, same as always. The galaxy followed a little closer, a little wiser, a little braver, because sometimes the smallest spark from the hardest fire lights the darkest sky. And humanity carried that spark everywhere they went.